My name's Gary. I'm the acting warden because Carmine and Bobby are currently in their manipulation and relationship arc. And then they're going to transition into their therapy arc. So until then, taking over as warden per Bobby.
See, I
Uh,
said he was taking over as warden.
yeah. I have a very different approach to Dogtown. I'm a no nonsense type of person.
All right, hold on. Sorry.
Just a question.
Let's just make this clear.
Go ahead, sir.
We'll give you guys the same treatment we gave Bobby and Carmine. Don't care. Didn't ask. You get nothing. Go do your job.
I don't actually want anything, sir. I'm here to just introduce myself.
Yeah, refer to points 1 and 2.
Understood. All right, guys.
You guys have a
Let's
good
get the hell out of
day.
here.
Have a good one.
Appreciate y'all for coming.
To my,
Very impressive. Cool
my
body strength.
feels.
Too.
Okay, so there actually is a DOC problem.
Oh boy.
I think we should make Bobby a regular DOC.
Yeah.
They all fucking hate his ass.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Carmine is at least reasonable.
No. I mean, what do you mean regular DOC?
We changed the legislation that establishes Dogtown and remove Bobby's name from that.
Or establish him as under Carmine.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best fix. I will say, for the record, I don't give a shit about how any of them feel.
Yeah, they already had a civil war. I don't think the legislation only matters. I think they're just
Well, they had the
about
Civil
nothing.
War because of the legislation. Because they did not have a de facto leader. And once again, I don't give a shit that happened. I think it's great that they're having fun. Very cool.
Good for
I
them.
think all the shit that has happened just over his pants over the past 18 days is reason enough for a demotion. I concur.
I ain't wasting all that time about pants.
Well, he's not even. They said that Bobby and Carmine aren't even active right now, and Gary Kebin is the interim warden because those two are involved in some kind of like Days of Our Lives something.
Yeah, I think we should knock Bobby down. Guy's in court he's in court every fucking day. Like at the end of the day, I mean, I've met with him and spoken with him a lot. I've spoken to his underlings a lot. He's a better goon. He's a better goon.
Yeah, we got some, and it's not really for us to worry about, but they're not exactly angels themselves. There's been some reports filtering up to me about these guys just being on duty 24/7, just wandering around outside the prison, not with inmates. So
oh yeah, I see them doing that all the time, bro.
I don't really care about that.
Well,
because
I mean, they're drawing a paycheck, right?
Yeah, a tiny, pathetic little paycheck that literally has no
double
impacts.
the doctors, right?
Sure it
Over
is.
that.
Yeah, it's like $600 an hour. They could make more money doing any other job in the city by like a lot. So yeah. Well, I mean, the same argument could be made for doctors too, right? If they decide to go tow 2 cars, they're already making $1,000 an hour, you know, and they're going to make more than that if they continue towing. So
right. So I guess my point is, like, if the whole point about getting them hired was because they needed keys and all that, then you know, why are they on duty 24/7, not at the prison?
Don't know. Once again, I just based upon the trends that I have observed with the state account, the amount of money that they're getting paid is so fucking small and insignificant. It literally does not matter. Even if they were to be on duty for 48 hours out of a 24-day, it wouldn't matter.
But yeah, I'm in favor of Bobby getting demoted. I think it'd be funny.
Yeah, agree.
Absolutely, it would be.
Do you know Fingal's gonna be around? Can we make Fingal do it?
That'd be fantastic.
I mean, you'd know better than us.
All right, I'll see if he's around. Let me hold on a second.
Perfect. I want to see it too.
May as well, actually.
I was
That'd be hilarious.
legitimately out of town more or less like 10 days because of playoff basketball, and I come back and there's people are still talking to this day about Bobby's pants. I can't take it.
Okay. The date is 5/14/2024. The time is 4:28 Pacific, the best time zone. This is the second Council of 8, and this is our third meeting or fourth. I forget.
Third.
Third.
Mm-hmm.
We will begin with the Treasurer, TJ Walker. Do you have anything that you would like to present to the table?
Yeah, quick amendment. So I know I passed the Funding Transparency Act. In the meantime, I have gotten a shit ton of calls about property transactions, which I ain't dealing with that in terms of property.
That has already been addressed. If anyone comes to you with questions about property transactions, and this goes for anyone on the council, you are to direct them to me, and I will filter their interrogatories to the appropriate people. But that is not a topic that anyone in the city will be handling.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. So I just want to amend it so it's there in case people look at it, which they have, and keep calling me with this shit. So I'll add small language to it, but yeah, I'm proposing to amend within the legislation, Funding Transparency Act, which is one 4 days ago. So all transactions, tax changes, employee salary changes, and all else involving state funds, except I'm just going to type "except" in there. I can't do it though because it's on Crane. Except property transactions shall be recorded and maintained in a public ledger accessible.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and add in asset fees in there because that's a whole other black hole that we're not touching. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll add that in if nobody objects.
That's fine.
Any objections?
Nope.
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 Okay. Second part to that, which may become a thing, and maybe this potentially is an issue in the future, is that as part of that conversation that someone called me with, is that someone is going to potentially use that as a way to launder money, buying shit, relisting it for hire, and giving someone else the money to do so. So possible loophole that I need to think of a way to close. If you have any thoughts on that, let me know. Third thing, Murphy, I tried calling you earlier. I'm sorry I had to leave the city. Fortunately, to pick up. I wanted to put together a document for any of the funding requests that should anyone receive funding, basically that there is a thing that they have to sign, waiver it says if you use this for anything outside of it, I was hoping you can give me some language or work with me on this, that if there's any misuse, it will be charged criminally as well as due to pay back the entirety of the amount that received. If you can help me draft that.
Yeah, no, that's no problem.
And I think from that side, that's it. I'm not going 3 hours into my shit. I also have access to the state accounts and have been looking at that. Yeah, so that's another thing. So I don't need to go into it too much. Quick thing, it's checked about this morning, roughly about 80 million, minus a 30 million that we proposed for the emergency fund. So roughly sitting about 50 million in the state account. Max, I recall you saying something earlier about there's a max that it can hold. Do you recall that number?
A max that the state account can hold?
Yeah. Did you say that?
No.
Maybe
no,
I'm
no,
mishearing.
no.
Okay.
Also, about that emergency fund, there is
Yep.
I have a special bank account because we can't make a bank account right now, unfortunately. I can transfer it to the mayoral account though, if we want to get the emergency funds out, and then it can just wait there. It's like its own separate bank account. Like I could, in theory, take money out of it, but I mean, the transaction history will be there, and it'll be pretty evident that nothing is happening to that money.
Do you have the ability to add people to it or not?
No, well, I'm saying it can be held there until we have the ability to actually make it like an emergency fund account.
Well, let's keep it there on the main one for now because it's not hurting anything, and I don't want to start fucking around with other shit in case something goes south at some point.
Okay.
That's all I got.
On to me then.
Yeah, Solomon.
Easy. Right. First one is legislation specifically focused on hunting. The first one, currently there is no legislation in place for if someone is arrested in possession of a hunting rifle without a license. This is maybe Mr. Braun is aware of something to do with this. There's been numerous times when I was a lawyer, I was called down to the cells and someone was charged with criminal possession of a class 1 which is an $18,000 fine, and their crime was being in possession of a hunting rifle without a license. So my suggestion would be that we have not only a charge that is relevant to that particular crime, but also maybe a charge for hunting without a license. So it is a sort of 2 for 2.
I think it's reasonable. The hunting rifles, it's been well publicized, have special safeties on them and everything. So
Yeah. So
Is
and
there
again,
not already,
Well, that-
is there not already an appropriate charge for this?
well, I mean, going back to when I had people called into the cells and that was their charge, me and other the officers agreed with me that the charge they were putting onto them didn't fit. But in their purview, their view, that was the only charge
What
they had
charge
that they
were
could
they putting
use.
on?
Criminal possession of a class 1. Now, I managed to argue that away just using common sense, but that was the charge that multiple officers have tried to use for someone having a hunting rifle without a license.
Oh, this is we had a conversation about this months and months ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like this came up and was addressed and is like handled. So like, what?
I've
There's a
not
charge
seen.
somewhere,
I've not
right?
seen a charge. I mean, if you search, I mean, I've searched hunting and I've searched firearms. I'm not. Maybe I'm missing it if it's there, but I've
No.
not seen anything.
The concern being that owning a hunting rifle is it makes less of an impact than owning a civilian firearm, yet they are the same charge because they're both considered class 1 firearms. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is something that came up several times in the sales. We've been charging with class 1, but a lot of people feel like that the punishment don't fit the crime.
It doesn't.
I mean, I feel that way as well.
No.
It super doesn't as well because months and months ago, during I think even before first term, Alan put out a state announcement that said that they shoot special bullets that do
Right.
not harm human
Yeah, the
beings.
smart trigger,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be absolutely
Wait,
for.
why are we charging people with class 1 then?
There's nothing
I
else
guess
there.
there was no
'Cause
other
there's
It's
nothing
actually
out there.
it is actually worse than that. Crane, go to incident report 5665.
Is this about the negligent ownership? Because someone
It's
told me about
worse.
that.
No,
Yeah,
no,
we're
it's
getting
worse.
fucked.
It's attempted murder
Oh,
for
okay,
using a
yeah.
hunting rifle.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a hunting
Mm.
rifle.
There was also the one I was referring to. Someone was charged with criminally negligent ownership of a firearm for their hunting rifle being found. I'm not even against that. If they drop it somewhere random, don't be dumb. But also, I think it's somewhat hard to dispose of them if you're not meant to have it. So you're just either fucked or fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I've charged somebody with criminal possession of a class 1. I didn't feel good about it. I mean, it happened again recently, and I just confiscated it and I dropped the charge because it's just the punishment does not fit the crime. But obviously, something does need to be there because these people are. How the hell did they get the hunting rifle in the first place? Right? I mean, it could have been robbed. It could have been somebody put it down for a second. They stole it and ran off. It's still stealing, right? If we, I mean, Chief Justice Crane, I mean, the penal code's in your hands. I mean, if that's something that you feel is valid, and we put it to a vote, I'd be well in favor of having a charge specifically for illegal ownership of a hunting rifle.
We got
Here's the thing, I'm
we
convinced-
got
I'm
a
convinced that amongst the judges we
have a brilliant line from one of these cadets, Maeve Wolf, who says he pulled out a hunting rifle and shot Riker shot him in the back. Mike turned around, shot at Riker with the hunting rifle, and Riker shot him once more, and he was incapacitated.
Oh,
And then
shit.
and then the first statement says, as Mike got up, he drew a hunting rifle and fired a round toward Riker. So like their statements don't even match for this shit. This guy should sue them.
Mhm.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, just as I'm going to take care of this internally as well. This is we got to fix this.
Yeah, I honestly, I never intended anyone to get charged with that. The whole point was just to regulate hunting rifles to say you can only have one if you're licensed. But I mean, if we want to just criminal possession of a hunting rifle, I don't care. Sure.
But Crane, I'm
I
convinced
think-
that
I
at
think we're
some
gonna need
point we
something
hashed
because-
this out
sorry.
as judges, like as a group. We talked about this at some point and came to a reason why we didn't need a charge.
Let
I
me
just
look.
I can't remember, like, but like we talked about this, a bunch of us, and came up with like how it's supposed to go.
Well, if you type in license, the only thing that comes up with a license, and maybe I'm missing this one
Right.
too, is piloting, practicing medicine, and operating a motor vehicle. So we don't even have technically anything, to my knowledge, for hunting in general, unless I'm missing something. I type in hunt, and there's nothing that pops up either.
Yeah.
So
So the reason that I'm looking now, the discussion. It looks
So
like
that, oh, they're
it looks like we had a conversation about it. Hold on, let me
Are
check.
you guys researching the ancient archives?
No, well, this is like from
Jedi
a month
holocron.
ago or something.
while he looks, can we raise the pay for hunting? Question mark?
So there's a very interesting solution. So I petitioned for this months ago. We received something, and I haven't tested it, but essentially, the state concocted a formula to spray from airplanes to make it so that animals reproduce faster.
Fertility treatment.
Oh,
Fertility treatment.
And
Oh God,
I
they better not work too well. I don't want to
yeah,
see that.
yeah, so like I don't know what's going to happen, but like after this meeting, we could test it if you.
yeah, I actually go
Shit.
hunting quite often, so I don't know. I could tell you afterwards, but
Yeah.
usually, if that's the case, I typically have to wait. I'd say like maybe 5 minutes down the board before ish, if that's type
This
of the
could be.
thing that
This
you're
could
talking
explain why
about.
there's so many panthers.
Well, it hasn't. I haven't done it yet because, like, first of all, I was afraid that Windsong and her group of fucking hippies would be like, "Oh my god, you're making artificial animals, blah blah blah." But then also, like, I know that some people are like dedicated hunters, but like a lot of interest for hunting drops. So I just didn't even bother going forward with like testing. But we should
Yeah,
test. That's a good idea.
yeah. The lumber company I know buys a lot of their stuff, and they use it for their warehouse. So there is kind of like an avenue to sell it and kind of circulate things into the economy. People are always looking for fur, so it'd be nice.
Okay, so looking back at the discussion about hunting rifles, basically we talked about the fact that even if we were to publicize the fact that they have these safety triggers, certain people and officers will still act like they are firearms, and we have no way to control or stop that. The issue being is that people will literally like go into Senor Buns, point a hunting rifle at the cashier, and be like, "Give me all your money. This is a robbery." And so the problem then is, are we going to not give that person what they asked for, meaning, brandishing a firearm, right? And or criminal possession of a firearm because they don't have a license for it. So we kind of settled on like, if people really want to fuck around that badly, then they can find out and we'll just use the charges as they are. Because ultimately it's kind of like if we make it too low of a charge, then people will just be like relying on other people's good faith and they'll use hunting rifles to rob people because they know that they'll get less of a charge.
But the counterpoint to that is that people
okay.
are being arrested with a hunting rifle on their person, not using any violent crime, and they're being treated like they did.
Well,
For
that
that, I
sounds
would
like a
suggest
PD
hunting without a
enforcement
license.
issue, right?
Mm.
I don't know. I
Could
see
I
both
propose
sides of
something
it.
with that, Crane?
Yeah.
So you could do possession of a hunting rifle without a license as one, and then in criminal possession, you can just, or actually be brandishing or whatever it is, clarify hunting rifle on top of that as if it's used in a violent felony or anything in nature. So you're not screwing over the people that are not using it for that and making them technically a felon. But it's how they use it in nature around it.
You were thinking way too much of the police force.
Sorry,
that's
I
like
used to be
police
one.
training
That
wheels.
was, something that we could do that. And I don't know about now. I mean, I just watched a fucking shootout over at the clothing store and I thought they were running with their fucking heads cut off.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a way to just make it simple. Well, what do we care about more? Do we care about the people who would abuse people's good faith with hunting rifles? and robbing them? And do we want those people punished, or do we want people not punished for accidentally having their friend's hunting rifle?
I'll be honest with you, I never represented
Oh.
anyone down the cells for violently using a hunting rifle. I represented multiple people who had it in their possession and were treated like violent felons
Well,
because of it.
but part of that, Solomon, is because the people that would do that sort of thing generally don't call attorneys, right?
That's a good point.
Jamal's not calling Solomon Walker to, represent him for holding up Senor Buns with a hunting rifle.
Yeah,
No,
probably. not.
you're that is correct. I mean, I haven't got a complete top down. All I've got is my own experience.
I mean, how bad would it be if the possession charge was lesser than normal class 1, but all the other charges were the same, right? So if they do anything with it, I
that's
mean, they're still
fair.
charged with
So
all
criminal
those
use, they're
things.
still paying the like
Yeah.
$7,000 or whatever.
Exactly, right.
Okay, let's do that.
I think
I
we
thought
can
the
do
criminal
that.
use covered it.
I think even simpler, it's just like hunting without a license. If you're not doing any other shit with the hunting rifle, you're
just
like all you
possession.
can do
Fuck
with it
the-
is.
Yeah, I think possession's fair. Like,
Well,
they
if
just
you
happen to
possess
have
a
it, but
hunting
haven't
rifle
done
and you're not
anything.
holding up people with it, then you're just hunting without a license. Because like, what are you going to do with a hunting
Yeah, I
rifle?
think,
But hunt?
okay, we'll just make a possession of a hunting rifle.
Yeah,
I think possession of hunting rifles is probably the best option.
yeah.
I would also suggest that be a misdemeanor rather than a felony.
I think that's
Again, if someone has a hunting rifle, they've done nothing violent with it, and it's a felony, potentially you are ruining someone's life over someone handing them a
So-
hunting rifle to go take a piss.
Inherently, I would agree with you based on what you just said. The problem is if they just go out and get a license legally before they go buy a hunting rifle, then you got nothing to worry about, right?
Yeah, potentially they could do that.
So I agree with what you're saying, Solomon. The problem is it's so easy to not have a hunting rifle illegally,
I'm aware, but there are circumstances where someone could be in possession of one just through, friends' stupidity. They've been hunting, hold this, I'm taking a piss. They fall down the hill, they call EMS. Now they're holding a rifle. They haven't got a license for. They get arrested
possible
with it.
someone
They've now
even-
got a felony.
Yeah, those things last a real long time. They're very well made. What if someone had it before? Maybe these charges, and it is harder to dispose of things. I suppose we could.
That was
in
that was covered underneath the
initiating this, we
hunting
could-
That was covered
Right.
in the hunting legislation from 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But also, I mean, possession is
okay,
possession,
sure.
right? I mean, it's a like you're actively committing the crime constantly. It's not like something that happens and then you're outside of the statute or whatever. Like the crime didn't exist before, so I'm not guilty of it. Well, I'm still in possession now, so I'm guilty of it.
No, of
So-
course. It's more so how to dispose of it at that point once you have it.
Yeah.
Assuming they could just bring it down to the police force and they wouldn't be charged as such.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll tell you right now. I mean, this is how I operate. I'm a big believer in officer discretion. I don't think in zeros and ones until I'm at the point of prosecuting somebody.
Okay.
And if I'm at a scene and something like that happens, and I take a look at the serial number on that hunting rifle, and I see it belongs to somebody else that maybe they were downed or some shit happened, right? I can say, you know what, you're GSR negative. This rifle is your friend's that's right here. I'm not going to give you a charge for this. This is you're obviously not doing some bullshit, right?
Sure.
That's how I operate, and that's how I would expect everybody else to operate in the PD. Now that doesn't always work that way, but that's where the DOJ comes in, right? That's when they can take it to bench, they can take court, and the judge can say, you know what, this is what we're going to rule because of XYZ.
All right, I just made a misdemeanor. Alex, how much is the hunting license?
4,500.
4,500.
Okay.
All righty.
That's how much the charge will be for possessing one illegally.
That's perfect.
Good call.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
Next.
shit.
There we go. That's me.
Okay.
Cantor.
I don't have any legislation to propose. Just been handling the same issue. We are struggling with food currently with the vending machine changes, but I'm working with a couple different restaurants on deals on that, so we've been handling that pretty well. So honestly, things are going okay. I wanted to restart the discussion if you're open to having it from last time. I'm assuming your expectations are the same.
Yeah, I don't think they're unreasonable.
Sorry, what discussion?
About
It-
the pay.
in exchange for, raising doctor pay by a lot, the mayor's office would like to see that no felons are allowed to work at the hospital or for the medical group, and that every 3 weeks inactive doctors are fired.
Look, I already stated I don't really have an issue with the felony one. However, the sticking point here is the inactivity.
Right.
I understand that some individuals, like most of us in this room, are here a hell of a lot. Not everyone can be.
Right. That's fair.
We already struggle with our activity as it is. We have some very, very consistent people that I'm so happy to have around. But there are some people that are kind of, they every couple weeks they come in.
So what's stopping you from
fully.
rehiring them if they come back in?
You want us rehiring them every month?
Well, are there people that
I cannot hire and fire? The
come once
unfortunate
a
thing
month?
is the hire and fire and takes a bit of time.
So I
that
mean,
is not something
why?
I have the ability to do.
Why does
it
it-
is on the board of directors, and they are not here every second.
Ah,
Janetti is.
okay.
I can get Janetti to wake up for things. He's the most consistent board member I've got, but it is not the fastest process on that.
That's why dictatorships are better.
Well, hell.
True. You ever considered overthrowing your bosses, Cantor?
I wouldn't know where to start. I've got some pretty impressive bosses with Derek Shaw. So no, I'm happy with my position so far. Unfortunately, it does slow some things down.
Yeah, my Derek Shaw was supposed to meet
Oh.
my wife the other night to talk about this, but I guess
heard.
he got too drunk to show up.
Yes, unfortunately, he is somewhat hard to track down for meetings. Janetti, our other board member, has been trying to have one for a while and hasn't been able to. But luckily, Janetti's quite available, so I'm usually able to get things done pretty quickly. We just fired 2 people for their LOAs being too long yesterday.
Mhm.
So it's kind of the same thing you're asking for.
What's the like? How long do you like? Do you have like a set amount of time that an inactive
Yes.
doctor needs to be? What is it right now?
So we have a minimum hours requirement. It's relatively low to, give people a chance to have some time off. And then
Yeah.
if they do not meet that minimum hours requirement, they are marked as inactive for the first month. If over the next few months they also do not meet their hours for another month, they're fired. So they're
Okay.
marked inactive once, given a very clear warning. And at that point, they can either work, be fired, or go on LOA. When they are on LOA, we contact them monthly to make sure that they are still interested and are let go if it goes too long.
What if what Cornwood? Go on.
I mean, I was gonna recommend what I would call a layoff system, and it would essentially be a like a quote firing, very similar to what Chief Justice Crane was saying, and getting laid off would be a firing on good terms, and you could get essentially fast tracked into getting hired again whenever you came back from your LOA.
I
And
think that's kind of how it would work now, right? Like if a well-liked and well-respected doctor somehow didn't meet this 2-month hour requirement, then I'm sure if they managed to catch a board member, they could literally be like, "Hey, I want to work again." The board member's like, "Okay, boom, done." I heavily doubt there's like a long-winded re-interview process.
That's kind of
for
what it
these people.
is. We take their keys. They have no ability to come in and work while they are on LOA. It's removed entirely.
What do you think? So okay, tactfully and respectfully, I think that 2 months is too long. What do you think a good compromise would be there?
To be frank, 2 months is a me thing. People used to never get fired for inactivity.
Really?
Yeah, that's a new thing. I'm the one who tracks all the hours and goes and does all this and gets it all done. It takes a hell of a lot of time every single month to get done. But I wanted to make sure that we don't have people sitting around inactive.
Yeah.
So it used to be far worse. There used to be people who would just never come around, but the general consensus was, well, we like them, so we can't fire them. And it was like, okay, but they don't they don't work, so there's no point. So I've made these changes. Same with the felony one. It used to only be violent felonies. I pushed for it to be changed to violent and drug related. So some of the changes you're wanting, I'm working on, but it is a lot on me currently.
Yeah.
I don't think a month to 2 months is unreasonable. We have a lot of people that get very busy in 1 month, maybe aren't around as much, have other responsibilities, and then come straight back and help out a hell of a lot. And to be frank, staffing has always been a consistent issue. So if someone wants to come back, I don't want to stop them from doing so or even slow down that process.
Okay. I mean, it seems like we kind of agree. It seemed I had a misconception of the way that you approach this.
Okay.
I did not realize that without you, inactive doctors literally would have never been fired.
Oh yeah, it was bad. I was the first to fire an inactive doctor 5 years ago. It was an intern that had been there like 6 months, but without getting promoted. And I was like,
Actually,
please let me
I
fire
can
them.
back her up on that because the same thing used to happen with the DOJ.
Okay.
No one ever got fired. I went through a
Yeah,
list
yeah.
when I got made Chief Justice and realized that like there were people I had no fucking idea who they were. I had never
Right.
seen them in 2 years, and somehow they were lawyers.
Oh yeah, same with
Do-
doctors.
Do
You
you
had a massive
fire?
pruning.
Do you
Mhm.
fire inactive lawyers and judges, Crane, or is it like something like you just randomly decide to do one day, like occasionally?
So I have been paying attention. Let's say, well, and I don't advertise this, but I have been paying attention lately because I have had that kind of itch, you know. So there is a purge coming soon. Because the more often you purge, the more room you then have to justify hiring and giving people chances.
Right.
So
true.
yeah.
So
That's the way I think of it for sure.
my main concern with the
Sure.
the inactivity is that now these people have a direct say in how the local government operates by way of
Okay.
just existing, and then like, you know, maybe showing up prior to voting and then voting for the person that they think is going to best represent what they want, but then they're just never in Los Santos at all. So then it's possible
I
that
understand that concern. However, in the election, I got 47 votes, and we had, I believe, 63 doctors that had finished their hours requirement. So
Okay, but, like-
they are not inactive.
speaking like totally hypothetically, not even considering your election, like this is
Sure.
something that could happen with the Department
Yeah,
of
it could
Justice
be DOJ too. Yeah,
this-
that's the reason why I thought about it. To be honest,
or the police department. Although I will say the police department had a number of votes that actually reflected their activity, which was somewhat impressive, or sad if you think about it.
Sad.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like maybe we can compromise. Okay. What if a week before new elections start, there is a mandatory purge of people who've been inactive for a certain amount of time?
What amount of time are you thinking?
Maybe like a month and a half. I feel like that's a fair compromise, up from 3 weeks, down from 2 months.
Sure. I don't think that's incredibly unreasonable, to be honest. I can move it up and just communicate with them that they're being let go before. We kind of do it at the start of every month. Also, kind of fuck with the timeline, but we can communicate with them. I'm not against it.
Cool. Well, if that's the case and you are pledging to do that, then I would love to see that you guys are paid your due.
There we
Okay.
go. Good shit.
Woo!
I will have to get
Wonderful.
a little bit of extra help with this because it is a big undertaking every month if I'm moving it up. But I'm not against it, honestly. I know it was active people that came by and voted, and it'll be the same in the future. So
Also, so I will raise it tentatively for now, back up to 1,000 where it was. But if your bosses do not think that, so I don't think Felon should work at the hospital, just straight up. It sounds like you basically agree with me.
yes, and I spoke with Janetti more about it. He has no issue with it himself. It's one of those things where it's always been that way.
Alrighty.
So why don't we work together, if there are any of your bosses who are not convinced, and try to get them on board with that.
Sure.
If they disagree, I will probably drop it again. But I mean you already got 1/3 of the board, or 1/4, I think, right? Because there's 4 board members.
1/3. There's 3 currently.
Cool. Well, I will go raise it right now. Thank you for cooperating and
Of course.
negotiating with me.
I appreciate that.
I think this is like the causeway to being able to one day, if I get like a hair up my ass, you know, and I go down to the hospital, they're fucking popping off. There's 5 or 6 doctors, you know, they're swamped. They got like 10 people, you know, I can go up and talk to them and be like, hey, you know, how's work? And they'll be like, oh, it's fucking, you know, I'm overwhelmed right now. I'm like,
Sure,
okay,
go
well,
for it.
you know what
Hey,
you
you're
deserve?
always welcome to.
A fucking $500 paycheck raise. Boom. You know, like I want to be able to have that, but like I feel like there has to be certain standards, right? And
No,
it
I
seems like you
understand.
agree with me.
I honestly do. When I sat back, I realized that the changes you want are just a more extreme version of the changes I've made. So I don't think it's unreasonable, to be honest.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go change it right now.
Woo!
All right,
Thank
good
you.
shit. I'm
Oh
glad we
my
were able
god,
to do
that's
this.
great.
So Dr. Cantor, is there
Yes.
anything? I know you said you're gonna need some help. Is there
Mhm.
anything that we can do, or even I personally can do to help support that at all at this point?
I appreciate that, Cornwood. Thank you. I'll let you know if there is. Luckily, I have some amazing staff. I think there are 2 people I'm looking to try to get promoted soon that will be willing to help me with this. I'm sure. So I'll just bug them real quick. Yeah, if there's anything we need externally, I will let you know. Thank you. And thanks for talking to me before this. You got me willing to talk, and I appreciate that.
Well, absolutely. I'm glad we were able to get these people taken care of.
Yes,
So.
absolutely. Look, they were all willing to stay strong on it, but I feel too bad for them to let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I know I was talking to some folks, and people were talking about how because you and I talked in the past about the medical plaza up there, and kind
Yeah.
of my plan for opening up having a connector inside and really building a community up there. So the doctors, the hospital system, and the law enforcement are working more hand in hand than even they already are, getting to know each other real good.
hmm
I think establishing that culture is going to be important. And then people keep coming to me saying, "How are you going to even get people on duty?" I said, "Okay, well, you know, I said wait until tomorrow. I said hopefully we can get something going, but that's not
Hell
a
yeah.
PD thing." So
No,
I'm
of
glad.
course. Absolutely.
I'm glad we
Yeah.
were able to get that done.
Yeah, I've always liked Sandy, so I hope that we can get more staff. We're literally always hiring. If you think someone's good and they're interested in being a doctor, we'll give them a chance. So hopefully one day we can make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, amen.
Good shit.
All right, perfect. Let me make notes about this. Do we know what
Oh, this makes me so
time of
happy.
month these elections happen? Is it? I cannot remember when it was.
It'll be July for the next one.
Be July. Do you know if it is like mid-month? That was what I was.
Based on the last one, starting on like the 13th, I would say it's
Okay.
like early mid-month.
Easy, got it.
It's like
All
end
right.
of the first week of July would probably be a good time.
Sounds good. Anyone marked as inactive, I'll just cut them half a month early. Fuck it.
Hooray!
Hooray.
All right, good shit.
Okay.
Love it.
So Alan, do you have anything you'd like to present this meeting?
No, I brought up my shit last week. If I think of anything, I'll let y'all know. Oh, I'm sure Mac's gonna love this one. I got a big update today, guys. The business app is coming soon.
Ooh!
Oh,
shit!
very nice.
Good, that's
shit.
massive.
Oh, yeah, we
Holy
got my wife and I
That is
have
exciting.
probably 30 plus businesses we would love to approve.
Yeah, I'm sure that soon means soon. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay, I'm distinctly less excited now.
See, that's all I got. I'm gonna look into some stuff with the prison. I'm probably doing a purge at DOJ soon, so I can hire some new lawyers. That's about it. Oh, and I am still ever. What's the word? Omnipresent. I'm always
Omniscient?
no. There will be an omnipresent focus from my position on sort of rebalancing charges. This will always be a dynamic thing. It will always be a living sort of penal code. There are some things I've been noting lately that seem a little incongruous in terms of certain charges being too low, certain things being too high. So things may change. I'm just seeing if the alleged incongruities are, actually requiring action or not. So we'll see. TBD.
Cornwood, you got anything to present?
I have a couple things, real brief.
Sure.
Take a look at my notes here. We got robbery of a financial. This question keeps coming up. Robbery of financial charge. It doesn't have kidnapping in it, but it has
What do you
unlawful
mean?
imprisonment. It doesn't have the word kidnapping in it, and people keep getting confused, and they keep accidentally stacking. From what I've heard, can we add the actual phrase kidnapping in there in addition to
Lord.
unlawful imprisonment? I know it came up.
So
This
do they
is like the
charge for
third time.
reckless evading? Because I didn't write that either.
Well, no, because I think when you see evading, it's like a intuitive stack. But a lot of people, for some reason, don't see unlawful imprisonment and kidnapping as an intuitive stack, because kidnapping is something significantly more severe than unlawful imprisonment, whereas evading to reckless evading is a pretty like natural, gradual sort of escalation.
I mean, they're both jumps
I-
in felony to misdemeanor, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. This is just for the.
All right,
This is what they've asked
I'll
me.
just, you know what? I'll just remove it. Right, this is an umbrella charge. Okay, I know what to do. Don't worry.
Okay.
Oh, quick question. What do you charge with the laundromat when people try to do that
that
shit?
is a good
That's just a
question.
robbery.
This robbery?
Yeah, typically
That's
it's
not a
robbery,
financial
kidnapping.
institution.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, because it has 24/7 LTD and jewelry store on that one.
Yeah, I think those are
It's store
examples,
institution.
right?
Yeah. It's, yeah. Including but not limited.
Doesn't sheriff voting start today, or does it tomorrow?
It does. It starts in an hour and 53 minutes.
It starts at the end of this meeting, is what I wrote.
Word.
Oh, okay.
I gave an approximation for 10 Eastern, but I basically said starts at the conclusion of the council meeting, aka approximately 10 Eastern. Okay, I have
Yeah.
amended robbery financial institution to now say this charge will encompass any charges that occur as part of the robbery, except for the use of firearms or possession of contraband, parentheses, drugs, etc.
Okay.
That makes sense.
You got anything else, Cornwood?
This is a. I might have to talk to Mr. Toe about this, but I thought I'd bring it up in the council meeting regardless. Growing concern about when tow drivers are towing away vehicles that are used in the commission of a crime. Their names are listed on the receipt that the registered owner of the vehicle receives. Is there something that can be done with the tow that would show the officer's name who requested the tow instead of the tow driver's name? Because they're getting calls and they're getting threatened. And I mean, they're basically getting threatened for doing PD tow work. And
Unfortunately, that has to exist.
Can we
Because
have
otherwise it has to exist, because you need to be able to document the person who requested the tow and the person who did the tow. Because let's say, for example, the person who requested the tow, let's say, is the same person that did the tow,
right?
Then that changes the dynamic when it comes to evaluating whether the tow was done illegally, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, this was what I was worried about. I wonder if there's a way that could we hide it from the person who sees it though. Like it's still documented
that's the person
privately.
who needs to see it, so they can go to their lawyer and file a lawsuit.
What if it's a police officer that requests the tow, and then now the police officer is responsible, right? They have to be accountable for making sure that they're doing a legal tow on a vehicle and putting their name on it as well. I mean, I think that's great. I mean, I think that holds officers accountable as well, making sure they're not doing illegal towing.
I think this sounds like something that
I gotta talk to Mr. Toe about it, if anything.
Well, I can tell you right now, it's not going to be a priority, and I don't like using our capital to request things like that because it's such a small issue that.
Okay. We can move on from it. Yeah, we can move on.
Do you know
from
what I mean though? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if it's something that's
if
quick
there's
and
something
easy,
I'm gonna go to like Mr. Toe about, it's not. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, no, I see what it is. It's all good. Yeah,
Because I'll tell you right now, the concept of them. Yeah.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir. This is something that was brought to me from my officers, and I thought I'd push it forward because I see what they're saying, but I want to see if there's a better
The feedback
suggestion.
that I got about towing was that it's working as intended. There is no intention to hire or create PD tow, and the ability to request a certain tow professional was already something that was added to address the question of officers having like interference in tows and all that.
Yeah.
So I think we already got
Yeah.
some movement there, so probably best not to bite the hand that feeds.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, that's something that I actually talked to them about, was the specific request, and I mean, I think it's good because it gives us the opportunity to have an unofficial sort of PD tow. But this leads to another. I mean, let's just move on from the initial suggestion that was given to me. Do y'all have any idea how we can help to push back on people being threatened and potentially attacked for getting a tow request, and they just take a job? Let's say it's just any random worker gets it, open tow request, and all of a sudden some guy shows up and says, "Oh shit, this damn gangbanger's 9F, and this guy's gonna come shoot me whenever I try and."
Well,
you're never gonna stop that.
I mean, we might not, but
so look, there is nothing that is more infuriating to some people than seeing their car get towed. It is like a visceral,
I've seen it.
It is a terrible, like, I fell victim to it one time. So my advice to those tow workers would be, if you see the fancy car with the underglow, maybe just cancel the job if you're worried about getting shot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, I get that, but like, what happens when all of a sudden nobody wants to take the job?
Well, then PD can fucking
can I grab a tow truck and send it?
Drive it over there and fucking impound it themselves. I mean,
oh shit, okay,
it's not the first or last time that'll happen.
Okay, sounds good.
I mean, at the end of the day, look, this has been a dynamic that's happened for years. I've had plenty of bench trials where half of the story was there was a big shootout, someone's car was getting towed for violent felony strikes, and then another person showed up, held the tow driver at gunpoint, blah 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 blah. We're not going to legislate that issue out of existence.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about if there's some kind of additional like enhancement charge or something that's attached to, I don't know, that we could
yeah, it's already unlawful imprisonment, criminal threats, blah 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 blah.
Okay.
Listen, you are never going to make the enhancement charge. Okay.
I mean, no amount of fine is going to stop people.
The only way you can make the enhancement charge not worth it for them is if you make it higher than the amount of money they would spend on the strikes on the vehicle or whatever.
Right.
And in order for that to be the case, you'd have to make it higher than whatever it is for an S-class vehicle being impounded for a violent felony, which is probably already a very high amount. So it just, it's just probably not worth it dynamically.
Okay.
Anything else you want to present, Cornwood?
No, that is all that I have from my office.
The venerable Murphy Braun.
Before we move on, I will say, Cornwood, one thing I do highly encourage though is that if you do have people who get held up as tow drivers, it is it is always an option for you to look into like the Ego Act, right? Because, for example, tow drivers could be considered a group.
Yep.
So if one person or one gang continuously holds up tow drivers to get their vehicles back, then push the Ego Act and say that they're targeting tow drivers from doing their jobs. And then that's a very good deterrent that already exists on the books and doesn't require us legislating an extra charge that doesn't really make sense most of the time. So I would push that shit, to be honest with you, and say fuck them.
Yeah, go for an Ego Act if it's we can build the case.
I think that fits perfectly.
Okay, done deal. Yeah, I think I still want to do some talk about a castle doctrine, but I don't. I still
Did we
don't have
already
that
approve
ready yet.
that?
Yeah, we approved it
Oh, you
last
said
week.
you were going to put language in. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to put the proper language. I don't think it's time is not of the essence with that one, so
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't have it quite ready.
Whenever
So,
you're ready. All right. Sorry about that,
Okay.
Murph. Just want to make sure I clarified with him.
Oh,
I
all good.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I got a few items. First, I just for Crane, I just want to make sure that we're still on track to get that coordination set up for the COB, especially
Yeah.
given recent
After the
developments.
meeting, I have a bunch of back end stuff I got to do. I got to
Yeah,
hire the mayor's cabinet. I have to create
Yay.
the civilian oversight board section for coordination.
appreciate that.
And then I need to put up the election for sheriff.
And publish
All
the
right.
mime registry. They're gonna kill my wife. These fucking psycho clowns.
And
That's
once
right,
you
they
make
are gonna
the
kill me.
It's
once
also
you
the
make that
drugs
coordination
people.
space, I'll just go ahead and throw in there whatever information you need to add people to it. That because like I got one, I still got to get one more person's email. That should be good. But yeah, that was just a quick thing. I have submitted a piece of legislation for your review. This would be the property allocation for performance and broadcast production space, for lack of a better title. This bill would propose the state secure and allocate an available property of appropriate dimensions to serve in the public interest as a furnishable and modifiable creative space for public use for filming, live theatrical or musical performance, or any other such unique events that have requirements for modification of an environment in a sufficiently spaced interior location. So basically, this earmarks a property. We acquire it. We own it in its entirety. We can inspect it anytime, make sure it's being used appropriately, and offset the loss in state fund by having a modest fee for lease and use for creative purposes of this property. Byproducts potentially of this plan would be the emergence of secondary markets and rental options for furniture and props. I did a tour of the furniture warehouse. There's all kinds of like stage lighting and stuff that's available now that it's impractical for someone to just buy a property for a niche purpose or utilize someone's home for a niche purpose like that. But we have a lot of large sort of stage and sort of studio props and furnishings that could go to use very well in an environment like this, depending on what kind of crazy things people cook up. So Siobhan already had a meeting with the cabinet about this, and my understanding is someone is already willing to sell a property fitting the dimensions that she outlined, which would be 10,000 square feet.
Who?
She can maybe speak on that detail. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple.
Ash.
We buy a property and let people use it to do set designs, theater. If someone needs an exterior for a movie in the jungle, put a bunch of shrubs around and a green screen, get a skylight in there. There's a lot of different things you could.
Do the movie sets not work? Do we not have access to those anymore?
I don't
Not think so.
Uh, Don't believe so.
No.
5 or 6 years ago,
No.
didn't Marlowe own them all?
Yes.
Yeah, but they're not.
They're not accessible. Maybe we should just see if the state could open those up.
That would be sick.
Because we already own those. Fuck buying something for somebody.
There you go. Well, I mean, I think the idea was just to have like essentially like a community center, right? That can be rented out and
Or the what's it
outfitted.
called? I know people use what's the other thing they use? They use the it's in the basement of Maze Bank. It's like a broadcast studio.
Yeah, but
Fame or shame.
this is the thing is, Crane, have you been to the furniture warehouse? Because
Yeah.
there's crazy like neon lights and stuff that you can set up.
I got
That you know what I'm saying, like modifiable interiors for customized purposes. If someone wanted to do like a certain type of game show and needed a certain type of set for it.
How big is Ash's warehouse?
I do not recall, but it was in 2 separate spaces, which I thought would be really helpful for making sure that there isn't double booking.
What does
I
that
remember
mean?
the exact one, but I remember it's really big. Like there's her warehouse, she technically has like the property has 2 buildings.
Is there like a door that connects them internally?
No, they're 2 external doors.
Interesting.
Mhm.
So we could rent out 2 different spots from this warehouse.
We wouldn't have to worry about double booking.
So in theory, and while it would be cool to have the state come in and allocate those movie theaters, that's as likely to happen as that business app being finished before the end of my second term. So I think that I would love to vote yes on this, and that I think that buying this property off of Ash would be good. This is simply by virtue of the way that it's set up with the two external doors.
Can you
and the-
directly sell properties to people now
Yeah.
as a thing?
Mhm.
Cool.
To state ID and you put the amount in and everything.
how expensive was her property?
435,000 is what she has it. Is what she bought it for and what she has it listed in the app.
Who's
She
gonna own it?
accidentally purchased. I think the state would own it.
We could give it to
how do you?
Oh, I
let's
see
give
what you're
it
saying.
let's give it to Alan. I think he's the best candidate for something
Mhm.
like this. Because he is not an elected official that
Oh,
has been
boy,
appointed
here
by
we go again.
with what?
Nothing. Just, it's fine. I'm getting.
I'll do it.
flashbacks.
No, give it to me.
Give it. No. Give it to me. I'm just laughing because if anybody remembers, there was this situation at the end before the financial collapse where every time we seized a vehicle from a court case, I became the black hole of ownership. So at the end of
What are you doing?
before the financial collapse, I was paying 3.2 million or something.
What the
Oh,
fuck
hey.
is this?
That's
Murphy,
April.
Jonathan,
Okay.
Braun!
What in the actual fuck?
hell?
Oh my
What
god.
is
Murphy,
happening?
Braun, we need
Hi,
to,
April.
Who are
we need to
you?
talk. We need to talk.
Who are you and why are you
Hi,
here?
ma'am.
Murphy can
I'm
tell you who I am. We need
A
to talk.
little
Who
busy
is
Oh, you're
this?
busy?
right now.
City council
Oh,
meeting.
Yeah.
Fuck is
We're
going
busy.
Yeah.
Okay, he's busy.
How did-
Well,
how did the
you're
door
also
even open?
single. It's
we
There was
fucking
someone knocking
over.
on this.
Oh
Whoa!
my god!
Whoa!
Good shit. You could do
I
that.
never loved you. I never loved you.
What the
I
fuck?
love the shit you
Great
gave me.
girl.
Lord.
Amen.
What the fuck? Where is this?
Hey, that's
coming
on
from?
camera.
That was on camera. Keep that in, Ursula.
Hey, we got that bop on camera, Murphy. Don't you fucking worry.
Is he coming out?
All right.
Holy shit.
So we're gonna vote on this
let's,
thing.
Let's keep the door locked. Yeah, that's fine. I'll keep it in my name. TJ, I'll set up something with you about, and any other
Yeah.
future treasurer about paying the asset fees. I'll just give you an accounting each month. Blah blah blah.
So you're comfortable with just owning this building then? You're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm gonna have. Yeah, that's fine.
And the reason I chose you is because your position is like long
No,
lasting.
I know, and yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I have the ability to facilitate that. TJ, if you're around, because Ash is usually around during the Australian storm. I don't know if you're around that late.
I heard I cross pass a little bit here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I will keep an eye out too. I'll document the transaction history and stuff if I happen to see her first.
Yeah.
We could see about getting that property purchase, but I suppose we're going to need Alan there. But couldn't we sell Alan the property after we buy it off of her for for $1?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there going to be isn't there property tax or something, sales tax, something?
I don't think the taxes apply to
Person to person.
Person to
sales.
person.
yeah.
Mhm. So
Which is a
aftermarket
problem.
Sales aren't getting taxed. Yeah.
It's the same kind of problem that
Well,
the
the
food
same
court had.
problem that we used to have before the financial collapse with vehicle sales. Person to person sales were not taxed.
Yeah, they're
So
still
people
not,
would sell
by the
each
way.
other for $1 and then blah blah blah.
Oh, yeah.
They're
that's
still
the
not.
classic.
So do you know the address of her place?
You just look up her profile, right?
Yeah, just look up her profile.
Okay.
Mirror Park.
No, that's a cul-de-sac. Someone else
Hold on,
must own
please.
it, and she must just be representing the sale.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to find out
wait,
who
did
that
she
is.
sell it?
I could talk to her. I talk to her a lot. I'll ask her.
Because I can also verify the purchase amount and how much they paid for it, so they're not just using the state to make a profit.
True, that's a good idea. Do you know when it was? Just find out when it was bought, which date. That'll make it easier to zero in on the purchase.
Wait, did she
That's
offer
a
to sell this to you
little
before or
hard.
after people started farming a lot?
I think it was right after farming.
Right after farming. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? Someone might have actually purchased her property.
Well, I mean, new properties are opening up all the time. There
True.
might even be an even better property for something like this that like opens up in the future. So we'll just keep an eye out for a large suitable property and go from there. It doesn't necessarily have to be hers. Honestly, I'm not like 100% comfortable with buying from a person as opposed to the state. But at the same time, if we use state funds to buy a property, that that money is literally just refunded to the state account. You know what I mean? Because all
Yeah, it
house purchases,
is.
yeah, like it's literally like a
Well,
human
it would
centipede.
just be the state donating the property to itself for a different use.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys, I'm comfortable with that because I think it's at the end of the day, for example, Andy Jones's Survivor, you know, it gives a lot of opportunity for people to do cool stuff, and I think we should facilitate that. And even I don't think I don't think that we should lose $500,000 for trying to inspire people's creativity. I think that that's something that if we have the power to do that, I think we should do it. So I vote yes on this if we are going to vote.
Even question. Well, I guess Andy's going to use it for a while because she's got multiple things planned. I was going to say we can maybe even buy, potentially use that space if she wants to sell it, but she's going to probably have that for a long time, is my guess. But I know she paid out of pocket.
She didn't she get like a little loan from us?
She did.
It
I
wasn't
will
a loan,
say
a grant. A grant.
I will say that when I talked to Andy about this, she was super excited, and she's probably going to be our first. Was it lessee? She's gonna be our first lease on the
Rentee.
space, rentee, whatever. She's gonna be our first tenant to like lease out the space because she wants to use it for the final survival stage that she still needs to make.
You talking about the one where they have all the people from Survival and then they're like in the crowd and then they like reminisce about what happened or some shit?
No, I think that's going to be in the like tribal council place that she already has set up, which is super cool. If you haven't seen the space, you should. It's amazing.
Okay.
316 individually placed rocks, right? That's fucking nuts. But there's going to be like for the final stage like of survival, she needs help. She needs to make that set still. Not having to gut what she's done to do that would help the event.
Wait, who's typing wait? Oh, I saw.
I'm in the MD jump stuck.
Uh-oh.
Well, that happens.
I'm out.
Yeah, hey, you got to do your shit on paper like me, okay? I don't trust no damn tablet, internet, bullshit, computer. Just do that shit on paper.
The thing was, I wasn't even in the MDT.
Hey, that's the thing. You never know when that shit's gonna pop up on you.
Shall we vote on this?
Sure.
I am a yay. TJ.
I also am a yes. I would also like to kind of just put out there, how are we going to, because all these things take a lot of large applications or walls, etc. So who is buying that? Who's providing that? Because that's a lot of work to also put there as if someone's going to use it.
My thought was that if someone wanted to rent out the space and they wanted to transform it, they would come with their own supplies and then take them out when they're done.
Yeah,
And
they
if
got
they-
their own crew. Yeah.
And if they don't, there is something specifically listed in this legislation that if they don't, right, if they leave anything on the property, right, the state will retain ownership rights of any property left on premises outside of the terms in any temporary lease. So if they leave like furniture or flooring or anything like that behind, that's ours now. It's
There-
rent
there-
out.
Yeah.
There is one purchase we will have to make. That's a furniture box. I think that's
Mhm. That's it.
just
Oh,
the
that
one
makes
thing.
sense. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, for me.
Cantor.
Yes.
Crane.
Yeah.
Cornwood.
Absolutely.
Murphy. I assume you're a yes.
Yes.
Shivon.
Yeah.
Supermajority 8-0.
Beautiful.
Let me say that I am this particular thing is a perfect example of like what, like Murphy's had a bar, right? So you might think, hey, this doesn't really necessarily have to deal with anything, head of bar related. That said, um, I am impressed with this bill just because it it isn't necessarily within your scope. However, it enriches and empowers the people of Los Santos in a way that I think that we are in a unique position to do, and I hope to see more of it.
Well, thank you. There was one more item, possibly two. Siobhan, Chief of Staff, are you going to go over the stuff in the all the stuff in the omnibus bill?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. All right. So one more thing for me, especially since in the spirit of us getting some payroll things situated, I know last week it was mentioned that the city council was supposed to get a pay raise to 1,200, but actually didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm actually proposing, in step with the judicial spending package and the hospital being
Well,
sorted.
we already approved it, so all I have to do is just talk to the technician.
All right. But I'm proposing, in step with kind of like, what the judges are seeing in incentives. We don't really have incentives. So I think a sort of a substantial pay increase hourly would be appropriate for what we do.
Only thing we may need to is the cabinet supposed to get paid that much too?
So your solution to not having another way for them to sign in was to have them sign in as council members, so they would, in theory, get that pay.
Yeah.
So if a solution can be found to that, then I'm comfortable with a big pay raise for the council proper.
Yeah, I was thinking, looking at what's been sort of looked at in terms of the judicial one, and the hospital going up to 1,000 again and all that kind of stuff. I'd say for what we do, and in terms of the feedback we all got to sort through, I'd say somewhere between 2,000 2,500 would be somewhere in the pocket. And I had thrown the idea of not a compulsory bonus at the end of people's terms, but like a 10 out of 12 attendance plus kind of like incentive for engagement, just kind of to future proof this very important table of minds from falling into inactivity. And as sessions go, we'll have people who are able to make more meetings than others. I think the people who make most of them should get some sort of like gratitude for doing so, for putting in all those times. And it's not a punishment to people who can't make the meetings. Like, things happen in life, but if you make 10 out of 12 meetings, I think, or more, then I think that it is appropriate that at the end of the term there should be some appreciation for that.
Agree.
I like it being attendance based.
I'm
Big
not
fan.
against
Yeah.
attendance based.
Not compulsive.
I think your hourly number is a choice. But the attendance based bonuses is fair, encourages being around.
Well, how much do you think one of those Uber or G6 or Grime people make at the height of their experience?
Ball
there,
run
Cantor?
is like $3,000 in like 10 minutes.
It's
Yeah.
You,
Gotta
you
make 'em
can
like
go
really
close to
smart.
about 9,000 an hour, is
Yeah.
what you can make in Grime,
Mhm.
if not
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And consider this, like, if my number seems large, consider that, like, okay, I have been in government, in this part of government, for a very short time, but in that time, I would say probably about a third of the feedback and a third of the time that I've spent, out of obligation, listening to feedback, I'd say about a third of that has been productive. So, like, a lot of the time we spend, we are going to be listening to people who are not telling us something productive. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like knock on anyone, but that's just the way it is, especially in the city. You're going to get, hey, construction, hey, this. So a lot of the time we spent is sort of wasted. So we kind of have to be around a lot to get a lot done. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I struggled with this during term one. I at one town hall, I almost lost my temper with somebody because they were suggesting construction and stuff. And then I sat down maybe a week later and I thought about it, and I was like, um, it's not necessarily that construction request that that person wants, but rather they are simply trying to have their voice heard and to participate in our government by way of like making their suggestions. And not everyone has the same like info that we have or know. So it can be difficult for them to, like, for example, at one of my town halls, for them to present something that is technically feasible. And at the end of the day, it just boils down to people wanting to be heard. So I wouldn't say it's wasted. It is just productive of community building as opposed to actual changes, I suppose. That this is like unrelated wisdom that I acquired. People just want to participate at the end of the day.
So what is the brass tacks here? What are we doing? We're saying if we do our job, we get paid extra.
No, it's literally
They
like
suggested attendance bonuses and increased pay.
highest end of attendance. Like literally, if you have almost perfect attendance, you get a little something extra.
Quick thing. Andy's at the door and just want to take 5-10 seconds. Can I let her in?
Only if we could take a 5-minute break right now.
Yeah.
Sure.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
Yo,
Diva
I'm
is-
not tripping. She said
something else.
Jonathan, right?
I was talking about. Yeah, Diva's something else. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed with what Diva and Wyatt was doing.
Bueller, anyone?
What'd you say, Murphy? I was stuff in my face.
I was saying I'm not imagining anything. She did say Jonathan, like Murphy Jonathan Braun. Is that what she said?
Wait, who? Who said that?
April?
April. Yeah.
How does she know your middle name?
I don't. That's not my middle. I'm just asking. Maybe I misheard. I don't know.
Weren't you dating?
I mean,
What?
she made it sound like you were dating.
Yeah,
You
not
like
anymore, I
okay?
guess, but yeah, before.
Well, yeah, not now, but before she burst in here and did that. Yeah.
Kind of like brutal.
That was very savage.
See what she said.
Why?
Yeah, I mean,
She
believe it or
she
not, it's
basically
like,
exposed herself as a fucking gold digger, man.
I do
yeah,
not know her at all, but it was crazy.
I've been involved in some situations where I ended up getting like thrown out of a plane and shit. So
Oh my god.
you know, seen worse.
And I never get dramaticism like that. I just have Vampingo running and stab me.
I'm sure it was Vampingle versus Vingle because they
No,
can
it
be
was-
really
it was
confusing.
Vampingle.
Okay, they
Yes,
can just be
he-
confusing which one you're talking
Yeah,
to.
yeah. I know who it was. The cops just didn't come, so you know it's fine. He's fine. They wouldn't tell me who ordered the hit. He said he has morals. So that was. It's fine. It's whatever.
Wait, the guy who stabbed you told you he had morals?
Yes, yes. He said I can't do that. I have morals. So, yeah, that's fine. That's a mystery will never be solved.
Holy shit.
All right, where were we?
We were talking about
yeah, Murphy
the
stuff.
prospects of a pay raise and the benefits of a super high end incentive for attendance and engagement. With council.
I have one problem with the attendance thing. It's not fair to the people who've been absent already for this term.
Sure.
Um,
Doesn't
I
have to
don't-
be.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we could start from like now
Today.
to the end. I
Yeah.
would be okay with that.
Prorate.
What sort of how much money do you think would be appropriate?
For the incentive, I would rather us discuss that part. I only arrived at 2,000 to 2,500 for the hourly pay as sort of on the high end of basically what we're all sort of supposed to deal with, because our time is availability is our best ability. So a high hourly rate I think makes most sense rather than creating a ton of different incentives. Like the end of term incentive, like I just thought was a good idea, but I don't want to like pepper our whole existence with like incentives when we could just basically raise our pay and just not feel guilty about it or weird.
I am for a pay
I'll-
raise.
I'll just say right now, I'm okay with the pay raise, the 1,200 or whatever. I think that puts us literally above any other government employee, any other position in the state.
No, it's 2,250.
Oh,
which I'm also okay with.
I think that's crazy.
What's income
be wanna
tax right
say it.
now? 10%?
10%.
Okay, so like 2,000 after tax if it was like 2250. I mean, I'm not gonna do the math on like the lost wages from the 1,200 not being in place from 3 months ago, but I mean, I'm sure there's like a significant amount there, and I think that would do. I think that the 2,250 would more than make up for that.
My personal opinion is that I don't think we need to incentivize people to run for this council. That's been made very clear. People highly covet these positions, and they come with a lot of authority and importance and recognition. And I don't think that. I think that 1,200 is plenty. So I'm okay with where we're at. But that's just my opinion. It's only one vote.
Yeah, I'd vote yes to 1,200. I think it's reasonable to be above the other factions. Sure, I would not vote yes to the extremely high rate that is over double any other faction.
You is this written down anywhere, Murphy?
No, I figured it would just be like sort of more a discussion vote adjustment kind of thing. And if whatever we agree upon would be easy to just put into writing if we need it for transparency.
Would you like to put a vote for 2250?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I'll put it to a vote, and then if it fails, like we can continue to negotiate. I have no issue with that. But I think just in step with the other pay negotiations we've been doing, I just wanted to kind of throw us a bone too.
Before we do that, can we discuss what you think is appropriate for the end? Because that can also distinguish between.
Oh, right. I mean, unless we want to just vote on those separately and continue to discuss that. But either way, like honestly, I don't know. I don't know because like I haven't done this job for 3 months. That's why I kind of wanted to discuss it because like there are people here who have been here for an entire term, so I don't know what an entire term is worth in that regard. Does that make sense?
How about this? Let's discuss the bonuses toward the end of the term. And right
Yeah.
now, just focus on the pay raise because I think the pay raise might actually just be sufficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's irrelevant till then anyway. Sure.
Okay, so vote for 2250 council pay. I vote yes. TJ.
Yeah, just because of how much fucking other jobs make, and
Mm.
I still think government in general is on the low side comparative to what public workers make.
Yes.
Cantor?
No,
Great.
no for mine.
I'm a no for the 2,000 or whatever.
Cornwood.
Speak up.
Speak up.
Speak up.
Sorry, what are the votes at so far?
2 no's, 2 yeah, or 3 yeses, I guess. Max it is.
Yeah, 3 yeses,
Yes,
2
who
no's.
knows?
And this is for the pay.
2250. Yep.
Don't really affect me much, but I do think y'all should be supported. So yeah.
Aye
Yes.
from me.
Siobhan.
Hi.
Okay. Motion to pay council members 2250 passes. For the record, the mayor's pay is not affected by this.
And I'm usually on police duty anyway, so this is for y'all.
Cool. Alan, will you pester the state about actually making that change?
Yeah, I just raised it with them about can we also create a role for the cabinet or something. So
Nice.
Sick.
Nice. Perfect.
Thank you.
if we cannot create a role for the cabinet, then likely what I will do is hire them as clerks. We will see.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. The other item I was going to bring up is in the omnibus by the chief of staff, so I yield my time. Thank you.
Chief of staff.
All right. Yeah, so there's an omnibus spending bill, but before we get into that, I want to touch base on what we had brought up last week. I was hoping that they would be here to present it, but I've not got any texts. They knew what time it was. I communicated them yesterday. But for Pride is coming up. It is coming up
Love Pride.
real quick, right? We're halfway through May right now. It's May 14th. We only got essentially a couple of weeks to start planning, really. Good news is Bo Babcock, Gabby Brito, and a couple of other what are they? The booth workers have come together and put forth a event proposal for Pride. It is under Report 6251 in City Council documents. There is a link to their event proposal. As the big thing that they really need, Crane, is what you've done for them in the past. And I
Isn't
think you'll
this
see that in there.
isn't this just covered under the TJ thing? He funds
It
events.
is, but there's something that you need to help with. So I just wanted this to be here on the record for transparency. We can talk more about it later. But just wanted to let everybody know that that was there for them to view. Again, for transparency. Okay. All
Which
right.
one is this again? Sorry.
City Council documents. I think it was 6251.
6251.
Mhm.
Oh, got it.
TJ was the one. TJ, this
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
one that we had looked at already. That you already were running the fiscal
Yeah.
score.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
What part do I need to help with?
Something you've done for them in the past. It's on slide. Hold on. Slide 10. Now I'm not sure if it's possible still or whatnot. This is why I wanted to bring it to you.
Yeah, I haven't done that in the past, but I'm pretty sure I would be asked to this time. I will run it up the chain.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Moving on to the omnibus spending bill. That is the allocated spending bill CB1. I don't want to bring this to a vote today, but I did want to bring this up in general for essentially thoughts, ideas. We haven't done anything like this yet. Wanted to see how we felt about it in general.
Do we even have confirmation that the Notify app can add new songs?
No, did Party confirm that for us, or did
I can talk to the guy who
so.
runs all that.
Okay.
Because I talked to him during the first election, and he said that it was discontinued, the radio, but obviously the Notify app came out after that, so that might have changed.
Yeah, well, the app is just accessing the back catalog. My last communication regarding that topic was roughly the same outcome that Max's was, in that whole program has been discontinued. I can double check and see if that is going to be reinstated ever, or what the parameters are for that, and then bring that back to the council next week.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I said I didn't want to bring this to a vote yet. I just wanted us to discuss it. And see if there's any other thoughts in a similar vein that anybody else had to add to this.
Roads and plows. I mean, that'd be
Listen,
like a
people have been
DMV
complaining to me
type
about
thing.
potholes, so I threw it in there, all right? They've been telling me the potholes are a problem.
Who
Somebody
complained
brought
about
up
potholes?
Yeah, if you find that person and tell them to actually take a photo of the pothole, I will
Yeah,
be.
I'd be interested.
all right, I'll get that photo of the pothole, no problem.
Because I don't know, we got an actual DMV that would technically take care of that.
No, the only person who would run a DMV has told me they're not interested, so the clerks handle all that stuff now.
I guess it'd be DOT, right? Department of Transportation, not DMV.
I don't know.
I got a Secretary
shit.
of Transportation.
We talked about creating a DMV early on, but again, the only person who really ever championed that sort of thing is not interested. So,
I mean, I think a DMV would be great. Maybe it's a discussion for another time, but that's something we've talked about within the PD.
I don't want to say the words I'm a fan of the DMV ever, because it just feels wrong. But I would definitely support a DMV's existence. But maybe we table that and have more discussions throughout the week before crossing that bridge.
Problem with DMV is just you have to find people that are responsible to run it. You have to find people that are trusted to handle licenses. And then on top of that, you have to find people that are going to actively staff it. I mean, it's hard enough to find clerks, let alone people that are going to be DMV employees. So I'm unsure that it would, be fruitful in terms of being staffed and available as needed.
Yeah, I get that. I
don't have. I like the concept.
Love the concept.
I tried pushing for it in the very beginning after the financial collapse, and everyone that I reached out to was not interested in running it. So
okay, so where do we stand?
Just we'll table this. I just wanted to bring it up, have people look at it, talk about it in the future. I'm probably going to bring it up for a vote next week, but looking for collaboration throughout the week before next meeting.
I'll add to my to-do to talk about the Notify app with the guy who runs it. And I'll let you guys know what the status is in terms of new music and all that.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to the only thing that I really did want to present today for a vote, which is the Food Safety Administration. I feel like it should be food and safety, but food safety. Take a second to read through it. I will say that this was partially adapted from a proposal that was actually brought to me by the lawyer, Robin. Loved his idea, kind of moved it, kind of move some things around to make it make more sense, I think, with what the tools that we have are.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, this is about job creation.
I don't want to be a stick in the mud, but there's some limitations that exist. For example, Burger Shot doesn't, or whatever, Senor Buns doesn't provide their own ingredients, and they are unable to affect the quality of their ingredients personally. So they are right now hard capped at, mediocre food.
Could add an exception for
if
them.
that's going to change.
Yeah, could add an exception for them.
Yeah.
I'm unsure if that's going to change, but that's the reality. I do know that in terms of the booths and all that, there are likely some controls coming, but again, as Max and I have ping pong back and forth,
could be never
TM, right? So if and when we do have the ability to remove booths from people and stuff, that might help in terms of getting them open more often. As of now, they're barely open as it is. So I'd be loath to shut anyone down because they had mediocre food, considering we can barely get people to open them to begin with.
So another idea, rather than shutting them down, is requiring them to post their health reading. Doesn't shut them down, but it at least creates transparency for what people are ingesting.
I don't hate that because sometimes you'll go buy a bunch of stuff and it's shit. There's like tiny fucking patties on the burgers and it barely fills you up and it's awful. You spend all that money. It would actually be nice to know if possible.
And that's not to say that the standard couldn't be low for the initially and then be raised in the future as we, as we're able to access better quality ingredients, maybe import stuff. Don't know. Maybe we can grow better stuff here locally. But as we move towards that, it could always be like a moving target.
I would say like maybe 35 is start because it's, a lot of people are just kind of understanding or trying to get, as you were doing the other day, was the whole genetics and everything else, trying to understand that shit. I don't think people are quite at that point where they're like, yeah, I can afford everything that's 50 or above, wherever the fuck that is. I don't even know how you rate that shit. Honestly, I'm not a food person, but yeah.
Andy actually came up with a really cool checklist for this, for like food and safety inspectors that I would probably want them to utilize.
How are we paying these people?
Great question.
Because we're creating a lot of positions and, trying to figure out how we're going to deal with all that.
Yeah, create them a neoliberal. I'm about job creation. I did put down that it would be funded by a 1% increase in property tax.
Sales tax.
Sales tax, is that what I put down? I don't know if I chose
Mhm.
property or sales.
Sales.
Property was the other one.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Yep, sales tax.
Yeah, I think
So I'm not sure. I'm not saying that we have to create a position. This could always be something that was paid
I mean,
out ad
could
hoc.
is this something we could yeah, I was gonna say, is this something where maybe who's this, the Secretary of Commerce and Labor
Yep.
would keep like inspection reports and time
Mhm.
cards from these folks and then submit them to the treasurer?
Yep. I'll have her work with
What
the
do
Secretary of Finance to do
you
that.
what do you want them to do if you say, "Hey, TJ, I've got a time card." Oh, what are you asking me to do with that?
Well, I'm saying we could set up like, you know, a rate that they would earn for each inspection or something.
Okay.
And then, you know, once you come up with the amount, I could always pay them out.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we got to work with what we have.
Yes, many J's.
Big fan
Right
of the
now,
J team.
the best thing we have is the ability the judges have to pay people out directly their account from the state account, because at least then I can ensure there's like a, you know what I mean, like a note attached to it and all that.
And what's the turnover typically of these booths? It's once a
There
month.
isn't.
There is not.
The issue right now, and this is all being worked on, so I don't want to dwell on this because it's not our problem. The booths went on sale at a specific time, right? Which happened to be after the morning sort of tsunami. So all the booths got purchased, and then you can purchase them. I think it's by day, if I'm not wrong. So you can purchase them for a certain amount of money per day. And so some people bought a booth for 2 months. Some people bought a booth for 2 weeks, some whatever, right? The issue is that the booths very rarely go unpurchased or unaccounted for, but inversely, frequently are not staffed or open. And this is even more of a prevalent issue when it comes to time zone, because, for example, if all the booths became open at 2 p.m. Eastern for purchase, then most of the booths will only ever be staffed and or organized by someone who's in that time zone.
Right.
So there are discussions being held about that. There are, again, as I talked about, some oversight controls specifically for the judges to be able to sort of at a glance see if the booth has been neglective, if it has been opened, you know, frequently, whatever, so that we can sort of redistribute that allocation more appropriately. But none of that exists right now, so it kind of is what it is right now. That's also the reason why I'm kind of being careful about how much regulation we do, because all of this could change tomorrow morning without any of us knowing.
So we were just kind of going back and forth with Sean. I don't think we need to be paying like 10K a week for inspections. So we need to kind of just put a rate that we think is appropriate for how many times these people are actually looking at it, instead of like, hey, you keep doing this. Yeah, here's an easy 10 grand. Is what, 7 maybe? Is that how many those are?
But I'm open to moving this, right? It could be 500.
I think 750 is
1,000.
fine.
I mean, I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah, I just don't want it to be like the easiest money someone's ever made in their life. Just what takes like 2 seconds. Be like, hey, you open? Let me take a look at your food real quick. You know, it should be pretty thorough if it's done correctly, and it should, you know, it should be interviewing the person, seeing what they do, who they buy from, getting a little bit more of a background instead of just like, okay, let me look at your shit. I'm on the next one.
Right, right. So, where did Andy put this checklist? Andy's checklist did include like an interview with like finding out like and like observation period, I believe, to like make sure they're doing things like washing their hands after using different utensils, prevent cross contamination, etc., etc. Which I think would extend that so it's not, potentially somebody getting $1,000 for working 5 minutes.
Right.
I'm also not entirely sure that we should codify the amount publicly, and I know it doesn't sound wild. I'm not even sure if we would want this on video because I'm just thinking like, let's say you know the amount is, and you know how much that person's gonna get paid, so maybe you attempt to pay for a rating. But I mean, I think that's a lesser concern.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said 750?
I would just leave it as is for now. Like, just take it out and just not even put on the inspections to be paid. Then we just talk to someone if they have a true interest in it, and then we'll just talk
Figure it out
about
from
them.
there.
Yeah.
Negotiable.
Uh-huh.
Do we think that a rating of 35 right now would not be right? Because we don't have the ability to shut anybody down right now. Do we think that 35 would be sufficient to allow who is operating to continue operating, or do we think that it needs to be lower?
I think 35 is low.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, like the bare minimum.
35 is what I think the basic, like that's what Senor Buns has.
Okay. I'm making
So if you
attention.
put it at 35, then it would allow for, inspectors to do their job, in a way that's not restricted by outside forces. So you could still have the back and forth of an inspector telling people, hey, get your numbers up. You're at the bare minimum, but also not put a booth out of business when we can't afford to do so.
Totally. Okay. Cool. Any other comments, questions, concerns, things that they think we should have amended or adopted on this?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Has maybe somebody already talked about this? I ain't seen nobody with food worse than a 35 on the
I don't think I have either.
nutrition
That's-
facts.
Yeah. That's kind of.
I've seen 20s.
Really?
Have
Okay.
you?
Wow.
No, I actually haven't. That's crazy. I think the highest I've seen, I don't remember. I saw like 60 something. That was rare.
I had a hot dog that was 62 today.
We had some
Ooh.
100 Cornwood for Sheriff pizzas.
Holy shit,
A couple days
okay.
ago. This is the standard. That's how I do things.
See, this could be beneficial, right? Because if they, post how quality their ingredients are, people want that. People will pay more for that. So, if anything, it is an incentive to increase the quality more so than a punishment if it's bad. So, fuck it. Hey, I'm here for it.
Yeah, like I said, I think setting it at the minimum is good because it doesn't hamper anything, but it also allows for the sort of, the work to occur.
Perfect. Cool. Well, I think that it sounds like this is ready to present to a vote then, unless anybody else has any other concerns.
If we deem this as something that is we can always go back and amend this, right?
Exactly. If it's not working, we can
let's
amend
send
it.
Send it then.
Okay. Let's put it up for a vote. Max,
Yay.
TJ,
Yep.
Solomon,
Yep.
Hunter,
Yes.
Alan.
Yeah.
Cornwood.
I'm gonna vote no. I think the food should be higher quality, the highest quality.
You're being contrarian. Okay. Murphy.
Yeah.
All right. Me, yay. Perfect.
Stick it
It
to the man,
passes.
Cornwood. Good job.
Uh-huh. I gotta be well fed.
Hell yeah, amen.
Cornwood, are you
Um,
trying to have us believe that you have a discerning palate?
The most
Oh my
discerning.
Oh my god.
Yeah, all right.
I have a lot of experience.
You do look like you've turned down quite a few meals. I believe you.
Well, thank you. You got to meet Alexis on fire. I've turned down a hell of a lot of meals. She's just feeding everybody.
do you have anything else to present, Chief of Staff?
I don't think so, but give me 1 second to add the vote.
Well, we'll wait in a second. Just one update. I reached out to Janetti. He has no issue with the agreed upon changes. I'll have to write something up for Derek. As you know, that one might take me a little bit longer, but I don't think he will have any issues with it.
Sick.
Fantastic.
All right, nope, that was everything. All right, cool. I think we're done, everybody. Good work.
Cool.
Really?
I'm about to open the ballot.
Hooray!
Oh,
Yay.
You have anything, Max?
It's exciting.
Holy shit, I'm gonna piss my pants.
Yay! Wait,
Don't do
why?
that.
Regardless.
Wait, why are you excited about that?
Well, I think it's important that you live free, even if that means voiding your bowels.
Thank you. What is all this shit about people getting paid?
What'd you say?
Oh, so
What
I
a-
was thinking out loud.
Mm.
Fingal Dan is an unreliable source for anything.
I feel like
True.
Finkel Dan just says shit.
Yes, you are correct. That is why he is made the commissioner of the prison, because he is the perfect person to stir shit with Bobby and Carmine and have it mean nothing.
Well,
But just Carmine now. Also,
Oh yeah, just Carmine.
he's got AIDS and leukemia. He'll probably be dead soon.
I'll be honest, Fingal
Didn't that
had
happen
combo.
like 5 years ago
therapy
too?
He has gout too.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's just been holding on.
made Bobby apologize to all the employees there. It's interesting.
So what you're saying is Bobby no longer works for DOC. Or
No, he's
Dogtown.
just not a ward.